everyone, and welcome back to the 30 Days of Courage Challenge. I'm Ashley Easter, founder and executive director of Courage 365, and I'm so excited that you have decided to join us tonight. Well, without further ado, I want to invite our speaker on. This is Eboney Weathers. She's going to be talking about the courage to curate your life. Hey, Eboney, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So thrilled to have you back.
Hello. Hi, Ashley. I'm so excited to be here. Hello, Courage 365 family. Good evening.
I just cannot wait for this. Last year, you just blew it out of the park, hit it out of the park, blew it out of the water, combining those two allegories together. And I cannot wait for you to do that again. You just have such a powerful story, a powerful way of connecting with survivors and really helping people step into their own empowerment. So I don't want to take up any more time from your talk. Afterwards, everybody who's tuning in, we are going to be jumping into a live Q&A after Eboney's keynote. And so you can drop a question at any time and I will scroll back through and we'll discuss those when we get to the live Q&A. So Eboney, just going to go ahead and turn it right over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley, so much. But before I start, can you guys please give our phenomenal host, Ashley, a huge round of applause by just tapping the heart button or the like button in the comment section? Just let her know that we love her and we appreciate her and all of the time that she's poured into Courage 365 this month. Ashley, you know that I adore you. You know that I absolutely love you. And I appreciate that I'm able to see your passion for survivors. You are so inspiring in the work that you do. And your work is so much needed, so very much impactful. So thank you so much for this opportunity to share with your organization. Yet again, I am very honored and extremely excited to be here this evening. So, hey, Courage 365, friends and family. Like our amazing hostess said, my name is Eboney Weathers, and I'm going to talk to you guys tonight about the courage to curate your life. Now, I love engagement. I love for y'all to talk back with me. I love for you to just chime in there below in the comment section or tap the hearts and the love buttons. So, I have a question to start off with. Hands up in the comment section if you like to visit museums. Do you like to visit museums? Don't be shy. You know, it's great if you do. It's great if you don't. There's no wrong answer. This is not a trick question. I know traditionally we're supposed to say, "Oh yes, I love to visit museums." But if that's not your thing, it's okay. But do you like to visit museums? Let me know by dropping a thumbs up or a thumbs down emoji in the comment section. Now, personally, I like museums, but not in the way that most people seem to like museums. I'm not really a studious art critic or a lover of history. So when I think about museums, I tend to put them in two basic categories. I put them in the category of a traditional museum, or I'll put them in the category of a hands on museum. So for me, let's say a traditional museum is Museum A. This is the type of a museum that you go to, and when you walk in, it's very structured, it's very controlled, the environment is very precise. You can't really touch anything. When you walk in, you see the red stanchions that they have lined up to ensure that you keep your distance from all of the murals and the artwork and the wonderful pieces. You know, usually as you go through this experience, the lighting is the same. It's the same sound, throughout each of the exhibits. And generally, we have a guide. And this particular guide, whether it's a human being taking us through in person, or it could be a piece of paper and a program. But we have a guide to take us through that whole experience throughout the whole visit, right? But then we've got Museum B. Museum Bs are what I call those hands on museums. Now this is the kind of museum where when you go in there, there's no guide. You just walk in the door and it is a free for all, right? You can take off whichever direction you want to go. You can touch the things that you want to touch. You can pick them up. You can smell them if you want to. The best example that I have of one of these museums, I think it's in Columbus, Ohio. It's a science museum and the name of it is called COSI, right? This particular museum, it's structured that when you walk in from room to room to room, you get to create your own experience. You get to walk through at your own pace, at your own speed, and learn everything that there is to learn about science. You can do this on a little bicycle. You can walk through here. There's a zip line that takes you actually through the museum. You know, you can zip line to this room and learn how babies are born. You can jog over to the room in the back corner, and literally, it's a room full of nothing but creating bubbles, life size bubbles. Or you can go into a room and you hear sounds and you smell a certain sense and you feel wind blasts on you. Like, these are the types of museums where there's lights and sound and music and all of these different things, all for the purpose of you having this grand experience. Okay? You get to decide what and when and how you want to experience this particular museum simply because you got a ticket, right? If y'all didn't notice, I got a little bit excited talking about Museum B. I'll be honest, I fall into that B category. I really prefer a hands-on museum. These particular type of museums have been perfectly curated just so that we have this hands-on experience and this wonderful, wonderful journey and these moments created from the very time that we walk through the door. It's not just this traditional collection of history and art and artifacts that you see when you walk in. And for the purpose of my talk this evening with you guys, I want to use this analogy of museums as we move along. The times in my life where ex- I have experienced abuse or I have experienced trauma. I've been triggered. I've had to go through some moment of loss or grief or pain. It's after those times in my life where I realize that post trauma, post those events, even post healing, many times I live my life and I walk through my life like I'm in Museum A. If I'm being honest, I do. I walk through my life like I'm in a traditional museum and I don't really do too much. I don't really say all that much. There's not really too many experiences, you guys. I just I just kind of float along and I'm just kind of led from one moment to the next moment by whatever's around me. Not me leading myself. I'm led by routine. I'm led by responsibilities. I'm led by my crazy amount of to-do lists. I'm led by the humans in my life that need whatever it is that they may need from me. And because I just really wasn't actively involved and actively engaged with my life. There are so many moments that I can think back to certain times and certain places and certain years and time frames of my life, you guys, and I don't really have the memories there to support it. You know, I was just kind of there. I was just kind of going with the flow. I've had the experience to be blessed and to travel to so many amazing places for work. but I couldn't tell you what a lot of those cities were like. I couldn't tell you what the attractions were in those cities, what the hot spots were to visit, what the best foods were, you know? I've been around some amazing people, and if I'm honest and I were to put a number on it, which I can't, I'm gonna be honest and say that the majority of the people that I've been blessed to connect with, I was just there for the moment. I didn't really develop this great personal, intimate connection with a lot of them. But, hey, life went on, right? I was alive, I had survived, right? And then one day, I realized I had the power inside of me to curate the kind of life that I wanted for myself. I have the power to be hands on. I have the power to have new experiences, not just life tasks and not just moments that happen to come about, but I could create new moments, moments that were exciting and moments that I could treasure. I realized I have a say so in my own life, what I want my life to look like, what I want my life to be. I want you guys to know that you do too. Life is, it's not come what may. Y'all, we've all said that. Well, come what may. Life is really not come what may. Life is whatever we say. Are y'all with me? Life is not come what may. Life is whatever we say. The first thing that I did was I had to start being intentional about creating new memories, not just new work, not just new assignments, not just new things connected to purpose or legacy or tasks, but new wonderful memories, new thoughts, new experiences, so that when I woke up the next day, I actually had something good to reflect back on that was connected to the sense of peace, or it was connected to a smile or a good feeling. I became committed to making sure that my brain had more good memories inside of it to eventually outweigh all the bad ones. And that's a lot, y'all, because I've had a lot of bad memories. But you guys, it's so simple to do. This is what I want y'all to do. I want you to grab a journal. And I want you to, if you don't have traditional paper, grab your phone and pull up the note section in your phone. But I want you to write down, literally write down, what kind of person do I see myself to be? What does the happy me look like? What does the me look like who's walking in peace and wholeness and prosperity? What's that woman like? What's that man like? What makes them smile? What makes them laugh? What kind of adventures are you going on? What are you doing? Is it nature hikes? Do you enjoy backpacking? Is it concerts? Maybe you're an adrenaline junkie, or you like to skydive or go zorbing. That's on my life list, by the way. Maybe it's snorkeling. Y'all, if you do not take time to picture yourself living a different life right now, you will always have the same life, and you will always be led by all of these other things around us rather than take the time and lead yourself. So spend some time picturing this. Spend some time with yourself and actually picture, who do I want to be? What is the happy me doing? What is he doing? What is she doing? The second thing that I had to do was this. I had to look at my life through a different filter. And I'm challenging you guys this whole talk. So don't get mad at me. Don't be like, who is this speaker Ashley brought on because she's a little bit sassy, giving us all this stuff to do. But I'm here to help you. Look at your life through a filter that every single thing is a choice. Everything is a choice, not chance. It's a choice. It's not chance. Somebody write that down. It's a choice. Life is a choice. It's not a chance. Everything that we do every single day is a series of choices. Yes, we have to be adults. And yes, we have to be responsible. And I will be the first one to say that sometimes I do not want to adult. Adulting is hard. Adulting is ghetto. I don't like it here. Why do I have to be here? But you guys, at the end of the day, we have no choice. We have no choice. We have no choice to adult, you know? But we have a choice when it comes to how we do it. We have a choice in how we actually do every single thing that we do. For most of us, we have a routine and we have this cycle that we live by, right? We have a pattern that we structure our lives around. We brush our teeth the same way every day. We shower the same way every day. The meals we eat are usually one of the same 8 to 10 meals throughout the course of our lives when we cook them, right? We traditionally wear the same styles of clothes. We keep our hair the same. We've been programmed into this mass structure and life of routine. We even put our shoes on the same way every single time. I know I do. For whatever reason, I put my right sock and my right shoe on first. Somebody say we are accustomed. We're accustomed. But guys, we are created and designed to curate, to curate. What would happen if you bought a shirt and that shirt just happened to be a bright, brilliant blue color instead of the black shirt that you normally grab? What would happen if you cut all your hair off, or you cut it into a mohawk, or you shaved your head completely, or you got extensions like myself, or you put pink in your hair, or blue in your hair, or purple in your hair? What would happen if you changed your hair? What if you took the long way home tomorrow? What if you pulled up Pinterest and tomorrow for dinner you found a meal that was so complex to make, you had to actually go to Google and Google what the ingredients are made of? What would life be like? Think about how different the day-to-day time and routines in our life would be. Every single day that we wake up, we have the power to change our lives, you guys. You all, changing your life, it doesn't just start with these huge giant tasks that we like to put on ourselves sometimes, these major life-turning events like moving to another city, or selling a home, or buying a home, or going and getting a new degree. Change starts with these little, small, intentional acts that we do every single day to make a decision that's different than what we normally do. Choosing a different option. It's not really change if we're doing the same thing, right? You know, I've been guilty of that so many times in my life of saying, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to change. This is going to be different for me. I'm going to take control of my day and my life and my year and in my year strong, and nothing really changes. I put it all on paper. I've got categories and sticky notes and plans, but then life hits and I end up pretty much doing the same thing that I was doing before I got inspired and tapped out on myself, right? But the last thing I want you guys to think about is this: courage isn't something that you get, it isn't something that you go and you obtain. Courage is something every single one of you already have. That's power that we have to change and to make a choice in our life that we just spent time talking about. That thing inside of us, y'all, that's courage. That's courage right there. Courage is not this, it's not the stuff that got us through. Courage is not the stuff that saw us go through abuse and a trauma and come out on the other side. That wasn't courage. That was hope. That was faith. That was grit. It was tenacity. It was a little bit of us going crazy. It was a whole lot of freaking strength. But courage is going through everything that you have gone through in your life as a survivor, but still choosing life. Courage is still choosing to show up for yourself. Courage is still having the ability to focus on routine. It's still accomplishing your goals in the face of everything that you're looking at. Courage is still continuing to choose healing. It's still growing. It's overcoming. Courage is getting out of bed every single day when you don't freaking feel like it. Courage is still taking moments to cry and wipe your tears and straighten yourself up and then go and face the rest of your day. Courage is establishing and using your voice. It's it's still doing the hard things, even when, y'all, we just don't want to do them or we have to face the fact that we're going to do them alone. Y'all, that's freaking courage. That's courage. Courage is a choice. Courage is a decision. Courage is it's an act. It's an act that you take every single day of your life. And it shows up in all of these different ways every day. It's not just courage to overcome, like I said, what we qualify and quantify as trauma and abuse, but it's courage that's found when you make the little decisions, when you choose not to be silent and you choose to go and walk into a crowd, or you choose to seek help, or you choose to raise your children, or choose to volunteer, or you choose to join a group on Facebook for 31 days and commit to this month-long journey. Courage is choosing to trust. Again, real talk, freaking trust anybody. Every day, we are faced with a series of choices. Your past, it's a part of your life. You can't undo it. You can't remove it. a lot of times, if you're like me, real talk, you don't even want to acknowledge that some of those things are there. But it's a part of our history. But just like all of the history that's on display when we walk into a museum, we don't have to experience life defined by just what's on exhibit, you guys, just by what we see in front of us. Y'all, look, the last 22 months of my life have been some of the hardest times that I thought I would ever have to go through. I'm going to be 46. So I'm like, look, bruh, here I am, 45 years old. Why am I still having to deal with things? I thought I was on the upswing of life. And then the last 20 months hit, it mellowed out. I was like, okay, cool. Everything's going great. Then this fall hit, and I'm like, ah, what the crap is happening? Why do I always have to push through something? Why do I always have to overcome something? Why is there even always another something to have to deal with anyway? And then I remembered what I'm telling you guys tonight. Things are always going to be there. Life is going to get hard, and there will be these monuments and these markers of these hard times. But you get to choose how you navigate them. If I'm led by life, it's gonna suck. Let's just say it. Let's just put it all out there. This is a safe space. It's going to suck. How do I know this? How can I say this? Because I've been there and done that. It ends up being pretty much a miserable existence when I leave my life to chance. But when you are intentional and when you curate your life and you curate it and you define what these moments look like, you're actually beginning to live your life. You're not just existing. So I did what I'm sitting here and sharing with you guys to do. I had to. For me, I grabbed my phone, I pulled it out, and I pulled up a note, and I was like, okay, girl, what do you want the rest of your year to look like? How do you want the rest of this year to go for you? And I did something that I've not done in a while. I created a list of all these things that I wanted to do that I think are fun and exciting for until the end of the year, whether it's a new thing or whether it's something I just haven't done in a while. And you all, I'm being transparent. And if I were to pull my list up, I've got kayaking on there, even though it's getting cold. I've got, all these different adventurous things on there because I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. But I started to do these things. And I started to get intentional about focusing my time on doing these things and researching these things and how to do them and what the cost was and where I could go. And in these moments where I feel like life is just too much, I step back and I get my phone. I don't completely dismiss my feelings. I take a second and I process them, but I make sure I'm intentionally not staying in that place. And I pull up what I call my end of year life list and I work on it. Even if in that moment it's just me getting on Groupon to find a discount or asking Siri. But guys, you have to curate your life. Right now, I've got over 57,000 pictures in this phone. Legit, I take pictures of everything. I take pictures of everyone. And the reason is because one of them, I don't really have childhood photos to look back on. But the main reason is because for me, each picture that I take, it's a reminder, it's a representation, and it's proof of a new moment in my life. Therefore, it's a new memory. You know, when I'm in a funky time and then and that funk comes on me and I feel like nothing is going to change, I pull my phone out and I look through these pictures and it's a reminder, Ebony, things have changed. I may be feeling this way again, but I'm not in the same place that I was before. I don't have the same life that I had before. I have a new life. Y'all, this helps me. It helps me to not fall back into the pitiful patterns of thinking that I know I could easily grab. Because I have a visual. I have a visual right here in front of me of this new memory to focus on. You know, you can have so much going on in your head at times that you can't even remember where you put your phone or you put your car keys. I don't trust myself to be able to pull up every mental picture of the new things that I have in my life. I just don't. I don't have that capacity to hold that space in my brain. So, this is how I do that. And I want to challenge you all. I want to challenge you to live, not just to be alive, not just to exist, but I want to challenge you to curate each one of your days for the remainder of this month, for the remainder of this year, for the remainder of your life. Seriously, take a look. Take a look and decide what is it you want your life to look like? And do the little changes to make that happen. Just start with the small things, whether that's going to a different grocery store or driving the different routes or starting a conversation with someone that you wouldn't normally start a conversation with. Visit a place in the city where you live that you've never visited before. Heck, put your left shoe on first instead of your right one. You could even switch your toothpaste or sleep on a different side of the bed. Just choose to make a change and do it. Y'all, tomorrow is going to come. Next week is still going to come. 3 years from now is still going to be 3 years from now. We can get there by being led by life, or we can get there by curating the life that we want. But the power to ensure that your tomorrows are fresh and they're new and they're nothing like your yesterdays, that's the power that lies within you all. And that's the power of the courage that rests inside of you. And this is the final thing I'm going to say before I close. Courage 365. It isn't just this wonderful group and nonprofit organization that Ashley has birthed, but it's literally each and every single one of you. It's you. It's you living and you curating every day of your life simply because you possess the power to do so. So stop saying, oh, you need courage. Courage is in you. Courage is in your DNA, baby. Give yourself credit for the fact that every day prior to this one, you were and you are and you have been courageous. It's day 301 out of 365. You have a 301-day track record, a great success rate of courage every day with something. That is outstanding. By the time you reach day 365 at the end of this year, because you're going to now intentionally be the curator in your own life, I promise you it's going to be better, 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 better than the days that you've had before. Thank you.
Wow, Ebony, thank you so much for that. That was powerful. I loved the allegory, the story about museums and just bringing us in with that and how we really do have the power to curate our lives and to live with courage every day. I know that this was something that was really powerful for me. And I know that everybody in the group was feeling the same way because we've had so many great comments coming in, so many hearts and thumbs up. I think we have 150 hearts so far, many thumbs up, and I know that's going to continue to grow. But yeah, so happy that you were here to share with us. And we are gonna take a quick break before we jump into our live Q&A. Everybody make sure you go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. I've scrolled through and have selected some already, but now is your chance to drop a few more. Before we get into that, I just want to thank some of our sponsors. We have several sponsors for the 30 Days of Courage, and one of them is Sojourners, and we are very appreciative and thankful for them helping make this day possible, and also for SNAP, Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, and they have a special message for us right before we get into our live Q&A. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 30 Days of Courage. I'm Ashley Easter, and this is Eboney Weathers. She has just presented an amazing keynote about curating a life of courage, and we are going to get into your Q&A just now. Again, please feel free to drop any questions that come up for you in the comments, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. I've already had several come through, and so I want to go ahead and start with this first one. This first question is, what about when you feel powerless to change and don't know how to change? What about those moments when you feel powerless? And somebody else said, let me see here, I do feel powerless and just realize this.
Awesome. So thank you for whomever asked that question, and then the individual to also be so honest and transparent to say this is how they feel. So this is where our choices come into mind. You really don't know that you have power until you test that you have power, right? Like if I came into the studio tonight, when I came in, everything's turned off, all the lights are down, the Wi-Fi is off. There's no physical presence of there being power. I don't know that there's power until I go over to that light switch and I do the little teeny tiny act of flipping that switch up. Once I flip that switch, especially one of the main switches here, everything comes on. The lights, the computer, the Wi-Fi, the other gadgets that's here that I don't even know what they are. All by that one little teeny tiny act. That's all you have to do. I encourage you to find one thing in your life. Again, put aside all the big major things. I think that's where we overwhelm ourselves, because I know there have been times I've just gotten in my head and I'm like, there's no way I can do this. I don't have the power to do this. I don't have the strength to do this. Don't even look at those things. Literally, do something different with your day, like we just talked about. I challenge you to just switch your paradigm, and maybe it is getting a new toothpaste or going to that shop, that's on a different side of town, or ordering a dress that you would never wear. It's just getting in that act of breaking the system that we're in, breaking the flow that we're in, breaking that routine of the same things that we do, because that's our comfort zone, right? That's where we feel safe. That's where we know, okay, I'm cool here. Everything's okay here. But it all starts with just the little tiny act of doing something different. That's it. And that's my words to you. Just pick one thing, anything, and just start there. And once you do it, it's almost like you break the seal on that thing, right? Like there's a crack in your life, a good kind of a crack that's there that allows you to just open up for more experiences and open up for the ability to create new memories. Great
Mm,
question.
that's beautiful. Yes, yes, I love that so much. And the idea of breaking that seal, because it's like once you kind of start to let out a little, it's like water from a dam. When a little crack breaks, a little water comes out, and then the whole thing comes through. That's
Yeah, absolutely. Before you know it, people are gonna be like, "Wait, who are you? Like, are you the same? You're not. What are you? I want some of what you got. Like, what are you doing?"
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we've got another question here. They say, Ebony, I and at least some others I know have dealt with abuse that led me to devalue myself, including having imposter syndrome. Any suggestions for overcoming the negativity?
Yes. So, first and foremost, I say therapy. I That is always gonna be my go-to. I've been at different places in my life at different times, and I'll just be transparent. You can self-help yourself so much with reading and books and Googling and asking Siri and going to seminars and groups that it's almost like you're just you're putting polish on something that's there. You need to, if you haven't already, find someone that you can trust and find someone that you can release all of these things to so that you're no longer carrying them around with you. Because as long as we carry them around, they're still part of us. Like the print can be there, but we still don't have to have that actual baggage, right? So that's going to be my first go to, that right there. If you've already done that and you're in the process of walking this out, then my first thing is to, like I said, like create new memories. You have to start having things in your life that are completely different from what you had before. You have to have something else to think about, something else to see, something else to be excited about, something else to wonder or to desire.
Great. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome answer. Next question is, how do you approach any support network you have during these challenges? If you're okay with sharing, what does your support network consist of? Thank you for being here.
Thank you. So I will be very honest and transparent about my support network. It changes, and I think it should. I think that your support network doesn't have to be the holy grail of how you live your life and who you lean into. You can have different people who support you in different things. And I know recently, for some challenges that I'm facing in my life, I didn't have anyone that could help me with that. So I chose to go and get a new therapist that can help me get this together.
Ooh,
I
very
can't do
love
it
it.
on my own. It's like I'm not just telling y'all to go get help. Like your girl's going to get help, okay? Because there's just some areas in my life that I'm just like, I mean, I've said Jesus fix it. I've said Paul fix it. I've said everybody fix it. It ain't getting fixed. I've tried to fix it. I'm stuck. So I need a professional, okay? I need someone with a degree. Maybe they'll give me a pill. At this point, I don't care. But get the help that you need. But don't put this pressure on yourself that that network has to look like everyone else's network. I've had people in my life who have given me support that have been mentors, you know, and they've just been people who have allowed me to grow and develop simply by telling me how they did things, and telling me more importantly what they did wrong and how they were hurt by that so that I didn't feel like I was living this life alone, but also it gave me the courage and or gave me the not the courage but the motivation to realize, hey, if they can get through this, I can get through this. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your transparency there. And I see a therapist on a regular basis. And the other thing I would say is somebody was mentioning that they've seen a social worker, and so some social workers also can double as therapists. But there's many different types of people you can get support from, like you said, mentors, social workers, but a therapist who specializes in the specific thing you're working through is going to be different than somebody who just does the broad generalities. Like perhaps a social worker does maybe crisis intervention versus somebody who, you know, if a person has anxiety or if they have a particular health issue or whatever. And so I see a therapist. I'm also looking into an additional therapist who can have a certain expertise that this one doesn't. And so, like, give me all the therapy, girl. Thank you for
Right?
being honest about that. I'm right there with you.
Absolutely. And if I can just 1 second, Ashley, like for anybody that's on here and you're listening to this right now and you're hearing the word therapy and you're like, clenching your pearls. Well, does that mean something's wrong with me? Probably. There's something wrong with
Oh,
all of us. Can we just talk about that?
yeah.
Every solitary one of us are jacked up. We just are. Everybody needs therapy. There's things I probably put off that I never should have put off that I'm dealing with now at 45. But you know what? It's never too late. So don't be afraid, you guys. Like, push, especially women. Fellas, you all are a little better about this, but push past that stigma that you're going to be labeled a certain way. It should be normalized to have a therapist, just like you have an eye doctor or a dentist or, a primary care physician. But just go. Don't be afraid of what they're going to say. And that's not your job. You trying to figure it out hasn't worked.
Yeah.
So this is your time to just stop trying to figure it out. Go past the trepidation, show up at the appointment, and just release. And
Yeah.
let someone else curate that part of your life and get you to a place where they can pass the baton to you.
Ah, love that. Yes, and I love how you talked about using it, like if you get your teeth cleaned or, you need some help with your eyes, like nobody's looking at people with bad eyes and being like, "Hey, you're weird because I mean, maybe in preschool, but like if people are going to act like preschoolers, like that's the problem, not you." And so, getting your eyes checked, getting your therapy, getting your brain checked, all those things, it's important. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so many good comments coming in here. Why is there medicine in our stories so much? uh there's no such thing as normal. That is such truth. And the stigma, yes, yes, everybody is on board here for that. Okay, a couple other questions. How do you challenge yourself to stay on track when you have up and down days? I know you talked about kind of doing those small steps, but is there any like long-term strategies that you use other than maybe the great tip of the goal setting?
I think it really depends on what phase you are in your life. And I think that's for everyone different, to decide. There's been moments in my life where I can stay focused and organized and determined, and I'm killing it strictly by having a schedule. And I wake up and I follow it point by point. There's been times where it's a little bit less organized, but I'm living according to sticky notes and reminders and apps on my phone. But then there's times where it's like, it doesn't matter what I do, nothing. There's no calendar, there's no conversation, there's no sticky notes. No matter how hard I try, I can't get it together, y'all. I'm not perfect. I have those moments where I just can't get it together. And in those moments, because like now there's an area in my life that I don't have the power to get together on my own, that's where you get help and you allow someone to help you with it. You will not be able to go through life. Now, you can kind of go through living, sporadically, but to have a healthy and full and abundant life, you can't have that if you don't partner with other people and allow them to come in your areas of opportunities.
Yes. And I know in times when I've gotten overwhelmed, I've just had to come to my husband and be like, okay, look at this list of stuff that I have to do. I do not know how I'm going to do this all, fix it. And he's like, okay, well, what about this one here and here? And like, he can just, somebody who's not in it in the moment, I've had friends that I've showed things to, and they're like, well, what about this idea? And so, yeah, just sometimes just taking it outside of yourself and having
Mhm.
somebody give it. It may not even be rocket science what they tell you, but you're just so in it, you can't see the forest for the trees.
I
Yeah, love
agree.
that tip.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Another question here is, how do we intentional? let me see. I think I might have written this one down wrong. Looks like this person is in a toxic workplace day in and day out, and they're not sure how to leave that toxicity at home. Um, they can't quit the job, and it feels like every job that they get into has some sort of a toxic, abusive environment. And it feels like jobs, corporations have taken over their life, and they don't know how to get their life back. And so, I'm sensing a little bit of overwhelmment here. It's related to a job, and it seems like it's past just being, don't want to go to work today, but it's actually a toxic environment. They're not
Mhm.
at a place that they can leave.
Okay. And that's very real. Thank you for being so transparent. I've actually been in that situation, and it can even feel worse because you feel like you're trapped. The first thing to do is every workplace should have an EEO office or some type of regulatory office that you can go to and you can say, hey, this is a hostile work environment. That is federally mandated that your workplace have that. Utilize those tools. It's completely confidential. What they are required to investigate it, and they are required to make sure that your work space and place is safe and that it is not a place of hostility and harassment. Let me just put that out there. So use those tools. Don't be afraid to use those tools. But then once you get that going, you still got to freaking get up and go into the office, right? So one thing that has really helped me in the past is to separate this is my job versus this is my life.
Mm.
Sometimes when we go to work, we like the idea of these are my coworkers and these are my friends and associates, and we want to have these good experiences and these moments because we're spending a large chunk of our day there, sometimes more so than we are at home with our own families, right? So you want that environment to be safe. When it's not, you have to pull back the expectation that it's going to be. Because every day that you go in there and you expect it to change, I'm not saying you to speak down, but there comes a point where we got to be realistic. These, listen, sissy, brother, whichever one you were, these people have shown you who they are. You can't change them. You can change you. So you can tell yourself in the morning, okay, I'm going to have a fantastic day. And you know, going in there, there's going to be some challenges. When you take away that expectation that it's going to be great, you can just focus on, I'm going to go in here and get my check. I am here because I got real bills to pay. And that's it. You're not there to mend anything. You're not there to fix anything. You're not there to curate the atmosphere of the workplace unless that's your job. You are there to get your check. So get your check. I noticed for me, when I first started, my background is government and politics, and I'm retired now. But when I first started and I was entering in the workplaces, it seemed like there was always something going on. And my mentor told me at the time, she's like, something is always going on. Something's going to always be going on. Are you going to always look at it? And I was like, ouch.
That's a good one.
Was like, why? Like, you came for me like this? I'm bearing my heart, you know, I'm bearing my soul. But it was a reality check. It's like, why am I focusing on it? I'm there to get my check. I'm there to pay my bills. I'm there to grow my resume, level up, boss up so that I can retire early. That is why I'm there. So sometimes you got to have that reality check, even when it's in your feelings a little bit, and just reassess your attitude and your mind frame when you're going into the workplace. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, I think those are really practical steps. And I loved how you were differentiating between, this is my life and this is my work. And a lot of times for people, I think, particularly in a capitalist society, we're told that, work is our life. And
Yes,
that's just a mind shift. And it can overwhelm us, particularly abusive environments. But like you said, just having different expectations can be helpful. And then, as you said, sometimes you do just have to move out of the entire environment. But if that isn't possible or that doesn't fit in with your goals, just rearranging your expectations and not viewing it as this is my life, but this is a thing that is in my life and I have so many other things.
it's
Yeah.
just a stepping stone.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Ebony, this was really amazing. You, as always, just bring the fire, and I just had the best time. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Your work with empowering, particularly women. I mean, I've just been blown away by the different Facebook groups you started. You have different courses and things, and everybody, you should definitely check out Ebony. What is the best Facebook group people can find you in, or website, or what do you want to plug?
If you just click on my name and go to my Facebook page and you click the link in my bio, you can find all of my stuff in one spot.
Okay, awesome. That is easy enough. Okay, everybody, make sure that you do that. You're not going to want to miss any of the good things that she's bringing forward. Thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It has been so wonderful to be with you, and live with courage.